Hello party people. We are talking about goal setting today. We'll be going through my plans for this year, but I'm not just going to give you my plans. I'm going to share with you some of the mistakes people make when it comes to goal setting. I think it's very relevant to this time of year. Some people are already starting to feel less motivated towards their goals or derailed completely. So I'm going to give you some advice on that.
You need to play to win, but you also have to win to play.
Because I've some experience with setting goals, sticking to them, and having some success. I have big plans for the bench press this year. I plan on surpassing my 1 rep max, which is 150 kilos I got late last year. And I want to beat that. I want to get 150 for reps. And I of course want to lift heavier. I want to lift 160, 170. Definitely 170 I have my sights on for 1 rep max.
Ready, fight!
It's been decided how we lose, 'cause there's a fire under the altar. I keep on lying to, I keep on lying to. Already pulling me in, already under my skin. And I know exactly how this ends. I let you cut me open just to watch me bleed. Gave up who I am for who you wanted me to be. Don't know why I'm hoping for what I won't receive. Falling for the promise of the emptiness machine.
And I want to share that with you. I don't just want to talk about my goals for the sake of it. That's not what this channel is about. Now, I will do an update. I know some of you are curious about the hair. I'll do an update in the future. It needs more time. You're kind of going to get an update every time I do a video because you'll see how the hair is progressing. But one thing I will talk about, I didn't mention it in the last video and some people were upset that I didn't state how I'm taking finasteride. I'm taking it in pill form. I would have preferred the topical, but I think in Ireland we only have access to the pill form. I'm not sure, but I think that's the case. And because we only have access to the pill form, I'm just going to suck it up and take this. And I have been taking this since last week. And another concern people had when I mentioned the finasteride was the implications on your sex drive. I haven't noticed anything in that department as of yet, which is great. I think a lot of that is placebo. If you think it's going to happen, it will happen. Manifestation job. But no, all fine. And if anything does happen there, I'll be honest about it and I'll share it with you. But so far, so good. Now, on to the goals of 2025. For myself, I plan on getting peeled. Leaner than I've ever been before. And I'm quite optimistic towards my goals this year. And I'm optimistic for a few reasons. Number one, I'm optimistic because of how well last year went. I set myself the goal of benching 170 kilos and also bulking. And I bulked for a year and I achieved the bench press goal within 10 months. So last year was a great success. And that's why because of that success, I'm now going into this year with the same level of confidence. And I'm optimistic because I'm also a lot mature since the last time I've done a cut. Same as last year regarding the bulk. I hadn't done a bulk since I was 21. I approached the bulk with a more mature mindset. And I think that maturity is something I now realize was probably necessary to have before delving into these extremes, such as cutting and bulking. It's not necessarily an age-related thing, but it took me a while to mature. Thank God I got there in the end. But yeah, I think that maturity has helped me so much with my goals last year. So I plan on getting absolutely peeled. How peeled? I want people to be worried about me. I want people to look at me and be like, are you okay? Are you sick? Do you want some food? Have a Snickers. Take the Snickers. That's how peeled I want to get. Because I competed in the past and while I got very lean, I know I could have done better. And I think that was a mental block. I just wasn't ready for it at that time. So now I think I am ready. And I think last year, how successful last year's bulk was, I think that proved that. So I'm very excited to see what lies in store for this year. because I know I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to get it done. And what also makes this very exciting is the fact that I spent all last year bulking and I made a lot of progress. And I'm just excited to see what the rig is looking like when we peel everything down, because I started the cut last week and I think I'm already starting to see a lot of the progress I made, which is very exciting, very rewarding. So it's only driving me on more to do this thing right. Now, regarding goal setting, I said that I'm sure people are feeling a bit derailed at this point in time. It's great having a goal, but you need to have a sound approach and you need to think about your goals smarter than everyone else. And that starts with being clear on what you want to achieve, setting a specific goal. So I plan on getting peeled. More specifically, I plan on taking my body weight from 96 kilograms, which is where I am now, to 75 kilograms. Now that could change throughout the process, but that's what I'm aiming for. That's very specific, okay? And you need to have a plan on how you're actually going to do that. So there's no point in me saying I'm going to do that without knowing how I'm actually going to get there. So first and foremost, keep it specific, because a lot of people are saying, oh, I want to get fit, maybe tone up a little bit. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with saying that, it's very positive, you haven't clearly defined what you wanted.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? God damn it. What do you want?
Who do you think is more inclined to stick to their goals? The person who's like, I want to get a bit fit, I want to tone up, or someone who's clearly defining what they want? So that's the first thing. Be specific in what you want. The next thing is, how are you going to do it? So it's great having a goal, but what's your plan? So I know I have to train in the gym a certain amount of times. I have to push myself really hard. I have to track my lifts, and that's the training side of things. I know I need to eat less. So I'm tracking my calories. I haven't tracked my calories in a very long time because I wasn't arsed. But for something like this, where you're planning on losing a lot of weight, you want to get it done in an efficient time, you don't want any guesswork. So while a lot of people view tracking calories as a pain in the arse, it's also your best friend when you're doing something like this. Now, I would also advise people, before you start tracking calories and dropping them, get an idea of where you were before you set your new calories. Because it's like, okay, I'm going to drop my calories, but you haven't been tracking up until this point. It's like, shit, what do I set them to? But you don't know. So before you start, have an idea of where your calories were at. I came from last year bulking. My calories were upwards of 4,500, sometimes 5,000 calories. I ended the year with less calories, around 4,000 calories. So I know from setting my calories to 2.5 that I should expect to see a drop. So get an idea of where your calories were at. So before you even set your calories low, maybe keep your diet the exact same for 7 days.
Hello? Who's gay?
7 days.
7 days?
Oh my god, I have to track my calories for 7 days?
Yes.
But there's a holiday coming up. Do you count the holiday as a day?
And just get used to tracking. That way it's not too big of a change too soon, and you're getting an idea of where your calories are at before you do this. This is something I often do with my clients. They come in, they're ready to go, and they're like, what will I do with my food? And I'm like, keep it the same. And they're like, huh? But I explain why, and they're like, okay, that makes sense. We need to get an idea of where things were at before we decide to set a calorie number in place. It only makes sense, because otherwise then you're guessing. If you set your calories, let's say to 2.5, you could gain weight, you could lose weight. We don't know. Now, it's not the end of the world if you pick a calorie target either. It's just we could have better data before making that decision. So that's the nutrition side of things, really. I'm not going to share the types of food I'm eating. That's not relevant. That's not necessary. You can eat whatever foods you want. I do suggest creating some structure around your day-to-day. Like, for example, during the week, I don't really change up my foods that much. That might sound boring, but to be honest, there's a lot going on day-to-day. I don't need another thing to think about. So I don't want to think about my food. I want to go to a shop once a week, buy everything I need, Stick to like the same 3 meals I'm having throughout the day. I really enjoy them. I like them. I suggest you doing the same. So I've almost created not a meal plan, but like a meal template for myself where I'm having 3 meals. I stuck up 4 fingers there. 3 meals. And I know roughly I'm having like a protein, carb and fat serving at each meal. And then at night time I'm giving myself a snack. That's a good idea. So we need routine in order to help us pursue our goals. The next thing is I've covered training, nutrition. I'm probably going to have to increase my activity at some point. Now I'm aware of my activity. It's actually quite low in terms of step count. I train 5 times a week in the gym, but outside of that, my steps are quite low. I'm averaging about 4,000. That's good to know. And because I know that, that gives me room for improvement. And because I know it's averaging 4,000, I don't need to set myself an arbitrary figure like 10,000 steps a day. I just need to do better than 4,000 steps a day going forward. Maybe it will get to 10,000 at some point. It will. But for now, I can start with something like 7,000 or 8,000 steps to make it a little bit more manageable. And I'll talk about making things more manageable as well. So I have an idea of how I'm going to go about this, okay? You should have the same. Have a plan. Have a gym program. Don't go into this aimless because the intention's there, but it's not enough to have good intentions. You're gonna feel derailed very fast if you don't know how to go in the direction you want to go. So that's the next thing. Next up is make sure your plan is measurable. Make sure you have things you can track. That sounds obvious, but the main reason why you want this is because let's say your goal is to lose a lot of weight. Realistically, we know that's going to take time, okay? So we're not going to get there until let's say 6 months down the line. One of my clients last year, one of the best people I've ever worked with, had the pleasure of working with, was Jenny. Jennifer Mannion lost 30 kilograms last year. She completely changed her life around, and she did that within 9 months. So imagine you have this goal and it could take potentially 9 months to get there. It's like, it is and it isn't a long time, depending on how you view it. If we're talking about within the year, 9 months out of 12 months, that is a long time. So it's like, what is going to keep you motivated for that whole time in between you getting from point A to point B, which is 9 months away? Motivation is going to quickly fade. I'm sure it's faded already for a lot of people, and I've said that a few times. But what's going to keep you coming back? What's going to keep you on track? It's the small wins day to day. Cliche as it sounds, it's true. It's the progress you're seeing on a day-to-day, weekly basis that's going to keep you coming back for more. So make sure you have things you can track. If we're talking about losing weight, then we need to be taking photos of ourselves. Let's say if it's a weight loss goal, then take them every month. If it's a weight loss goal, step on the scale every day and get the average at the end of the week and see for yourself, is that weekly average trending down over time? If it is, that's very motivating. It's like, cool, okay, I'm going in the right direction. Let's keep this going. Also, if it's not trending down, if it's not doing what you want to do, then it's like, okay, I need to make an adjustment. You haven't messed stuff up. You haven't messed it up. You just need to make an adjustment, okay? So making sure your plan is measurable is huge, because you can't go into this and not be tracking anything. It won't last long, okay? Let's not rely on motivation, which a lot of people do. And people are very motivated at the start of the year, and then it drops off very quickly. I've seen it with some of my clients who've been like, Dave, we're going for it. This is it. And all last week, they're all amped up. And now this week, they're already coming in a little bit deflated, some of them. So let's not rely on motivation. The next thing is, you need to be realistic. Now, people have unrealistic expectations, but I think it's okay to have unrealistic expectations and to be overly optimistic about what you can achieve. Have big goals. That's great. I think we don't believe in ourselves enough. But what you need to be realistic about is how long it's going to take. Because you can't be like, I want to lose 20 kilos in 6-8 weeks. It's not going to happen unless you plan on starving yourself, which I don't recommend, because then you're going to bounce back very fast. So just be realistic with the timeline. And people people often get frustrated when they hear how long something's going to take. You're trying to change your body, okay? That's not going to happen overnight. And there is a price to pay with goal setting. It's like if you want to achieve something, that's great, but there's a cost to that. And people often they're either not aware of the price they have to pay, such as putting in the time, or if it is a weight loss goal, being hungry from time to time. And some of those, like I'm trying to get very, very lean this year. That's something I'm gonna have to suck up. I'm giving myself 6 months minimum for my goal. And if your approach is sound and you enjoy it, it doesn't matter how long it's gonna take. And if you're tracking things along the way, you're looking at those small wins, you're going to be motivated to keep coming back for more and more and more. The last thing you want to concern yourself with is the all or nothing mindset. You've heard this before, and you've probably heard a lot of things I've brought up before, but start implementing it. Get rid of that mindset. It doesn't work. I've been a trainer for a long time. I've worked with a lot of people. All or nothing leaves you with all or nothing. And most of the time it ends up being nothing, because all going too hard, like let's say you're going to go for a run every week, gym 4 days a week. I'm not going to eat any treats. I'm going to cut out all treats. I'm only going to eat salads and meat. Too extreme. It's like, great, that's cool. Do that, but that won't last very long, okay? So anytime my clients if anyone ever says some things like that to me, I'm like, whoa. Fair enough, you think this now and you're willing to do this now, but in 2 weeks' time, when motivation is gone and you're feeling burnt out and your cravings are through the roof, what's going to happen then? So willpower, people talk about willpower and discipline when it comes to getting in shape, and while those are things that are definitely going to need to be utilized throughout this process, we don't want to be testing it all the time. We want to reduce friction, and we want to make things easier on ourselves where we can. So start small. An example being, I started small with what I'm trying to do. So last week I reduced my calories, and I didn't expect myself to be perfect. I set my calories to 2,500. Last week I think I hit that 6 out of 7 days. One day I went over my calories, I hit 3,500 calories. A lot of people would think they messed it up, they are a failure. I didn't care. It's like, I'm only getting into it. It's the first week back. It's okay. And I also didn't set myself any crazy cardio or step targets yet. It is something I will utilize, but I'm trying to start small and get these small wins and just add on over time. Another reason why last year was very successful as well is because I almost let go of the outcome. I forgot about it, because I was only talking to Kyle about this yesterday. Last year, I genuinely thought I was not going to bench 170. I didn't think it was going to happen because of how much I was struggling. Like halfway through the year, I failed 160 twice after going back to the drawing board for another month or so, hitting it, not getting it, back again, hitting it, not getting it, and being like, damn, I'm putting a lot into this, and I'm failing 160 twice. I haven't got 160 and I want to get to 170. I give this advice to my clients. I can't be a hypocrite. Forget about the outcome. If you're seeing progress from what you're doing, maybe you just need to give it more time, which is what I did. I ended up benching 160. After some time, I got 165 and I got 170. And I'm still in disbelief over that. And I'm proud of it. But what I'm more proud of is that I just stuck to what I said I was going to do, which is quite important. So if you are going to set a goal for yourself, make sure you see it through. Forget about the result. Forget about it. Now I can say this. I would have been happy last year. Even if I didn't make the 170, I would have been proud of my progress, because I got to 160. I was like, do you know what? Got to 160, let's push for 165, and I'll be happy with that, because that's a 15 kilo increase on my bench press max. Lo and behold, I got 170. That's the icing on the cake. I can't remember the point I was making there. I'm terrible for going off on tangents and then forgetting where I was. But this is the first YouTube video back. We'll get there, people. We'll get there. So that's the approach. That's the approach I'm taking with this year. That's why I'm quite optimistic towards my goals. I will share everything I'm doing going forward. Guys, before I close off, I'm a personal trainer and I have been for 8 years. I'm quite experienced, and I've been training myself for 14 years. I'm quite passionate when it comes to all this stuff, and I care about you achieving your goals. So if you want to do this and you want to be efficient with whatever your goal is, whether it be cutting, doing it in a manner that's sustainable and getting really lean, or bulking up, I have the skills and the knowledge to help you with that. So if that is something that interests you, feel free to reach out to me. We can schedule a call, we can have a chat, you can ask some questions. The call is completely free, and we can see if we're a good fit. Aside from that, make sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends about the channel. I plan to make more videos. It helps if you help me grow the channel, and I will see you in the next one.